This is the Truth Network.
Hidden treasures of the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Once again, I think we're digging into the best verse in the whole Bible. I don't know. It's just a spectacular verse, and it's so simple, but it's so amazingly beautiful and such a treasure and easy to get in your heart, and hopefully we can get it there and stay there. I'm quite sure it's a statute, as we are in the second chapter of the Song of Solomon, and we are in verse 6, which is very simple in English. I'll read it and then we'll dig. So here we go. So his left hand is under my head, and his right hand doth embrace me. Isn't that beautiful? It's just that simple. Just those few words. But those few words mean more than I can possibly even imagine. And there's no doubt that in my mind at all that Solomon is trying to give us an illustration of how God is all about us. He's under us. He's over us. He's on either side of us. I guess there are 6 different ways that he is all around us. And, I couldn't help but think, as we studied the 119th Psalm, those 2 verses that go together in the Kuf section where it says, those who chase after mischief are far from thy law, but thou art very near, O Lord, and thy law is the truth. And so as I thought about that, and to me, this is a picture of a God hug, if there ever was one. And Spurgeon obviously loved this. I was reading my devotion last night by Spurgeon. He used the same quote. I was like, okay, God, I get the picture. That this is such an amazing thing to just soak. I have a dear friend, Adam Draper, and he loves to soak in the Lord. Well, what a great thing to realize that Jesus' left hand is your pillow, okay? And his right hand is surrounding you. And this whole thing is, if you think about it, if you're in that position and you imagine it, well, his face is face to face with you. And so in his presence is fullness of joy. And at his right hand are pleasures forevermore, right? Well, he's got it around you. It's absolutely spectacular in so many different ways, as we think that this is something that we just can experience. And so as I processed what this means, that, thou art very near, O Lord, because when we get back to those verses in the Kuf section, which have to do with proximity, how close is God? And the closer we get to God, the more holy we are. We think that our sin absolutely repulses him. And so when I thought about my own sin, which is, clearly a whole lot of sin, I thought about one of the things I would have thought would have repulsed him the most. And to think that he would still hug me is just unbelievable, but my life has played that out. So when I was young, just to tell you the sin, and I don't want to revel in it, I just want to show that, man, I got some horrible stuff in my life, and yet God still hugs me, and I can tell you about that. So, I don't know, I was probably about 19 years old, and I had my own apartment. My parents had moved out of town, and a friend of mine, just made this offer or whatever. His girlfriend that it was actually his fiance that he wanted to marry, needed a place to stay, and so, he wanted her to stay with me, which, that thought didn't, I never thought anything would ever. It just didn't even cross my mind. But this girl, she had other ideas, I guess. We all, whatever happened. One night I got drunk, and here it was, a good friend of mine. He wasn't my best friend, but he was a good friend. And here I was with his future fiance, and oh my goodness, what happened was horrible. We had relations, and I have always thought it was, just how could you forgive me for such a horrible thing? But clearly, I was running after mischief. I mean, that word running after mischief in Hebrew has to do with sexual misconduct. And here it was. I was running after mischief, and I was far from thy law. However, The Lord was near. He was right there that whole time, and all I had to do was turn, and I could have fleed, but I didn't. But that didn't change the fact that he continued to pursue me, and he knew not only that, but all the horrible things I'm still going to do. But yet, you heard me describe the night that I got to see his face. That night that he was showing me all the things that I could have done to reach out to this person and that person, and all of a sudden his glory showed up and my heart was screaming out. Well, I thought about my friend Adam Draper, who was talking just on my show on Saturday, how heroin addicts are looking for that kind of thing. So one of the ways that they work with them at the House of Prayer is they get them to meditate, to spend time right in Jesus's arms, in this very position, with his left hand under my head and his right hand embracing them, so that they can experience, the Most High God, was the way he put it, which I really like that, because when you do that, when you really realize how much your heart is just screaming for that presence, that light, that life, because when you're in a God hug, and I've described them many different ways, there is a sense of you are his favorite, like there is no sense of in the world. And it's called grace, but he's full of grace. And so when you're face to face with Jesus, right, you feel like you're his favorite. You feel alive. It's where life really comes from, right? Because God is right in there with you, and he's completely glowing, and you feel safe. And the neat thing about right and left, if you look at it in Hebrew, time and time again, he says, do not go to the left or to the right. And so here we got his left hand around us one way, his right hand around us the other way. And so if we would just look up in his face, we got no chance of getting off track, right? Because he's right there on our right and on our left. And there we are, right in the middle, right? And you've heard me hopefully talk about the time when I got hit by the Jeep, and I got this God hug, where he came when I was, thinking I was going to lose my left leg, and everybody was freaking out. I've told the story many times, but the point was that this warm, beautiful hug, this sense of peace that transcends all understanding, just to know that is available to us at any moment. At any moment we want it. We can just realize, right? His left hand is under my head. His right hand embraces me. He surrounds me, and he can help keep me on path. Even when I've done horrible things, he's still, right? He's got me covered, which is the whole idea of Jesus's blood. It covers us, right? So in his presence, where's Satan in this picture? Nowhere, because Jesus, right? Where are your accusers? Well, they're just gone, man, because you're here. I mean, Big Brother is taking care of all that. So that, this is just an easy verse in my mind to keep in our hearts. His left hand is under my head. His right hand doth embrace us, or just say his right hand is giving me a hug. Oh my goodness. What an amazing, amazing verse. My prayer is that you can see it, experience that, this very moment and even this day, as much as possible. Amen.